So today we have something a bit more interesting. We have a review of the RTX 3080 by Zotac. This is the Trinity edition. Retails for around 3,449 ringgit Malaysia if I'm not mistaken, but you will struggle to find this thing at the recommended retail price. I really like the new Zotac design box, which has this holographic effect. Now on the back we can see the usual ice storm, spectra and firestorm features of the Zotac. So we are going to have a short unboxing for a while. Now, looking at the graphic card itself, I think for a very lower end model, it looks very nice. It doesn't have any obnoxious colors like red or blue or anything like that. It's a simple grey, black, silver combination, which is very neutral and can fit many builds. So on the side, you can see the dual 8-pin connection for the power. It comes in only the triple fan design, and each fan is actually 90 mm in diameter. GPU also comes with a nice backplate, which is made of, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's metal. There's also some holes at the back so that air can pass through and gives ventilation for the graphic card. The backplate at the end also is tapered, so this can help in fitting, especially in small SFF cases. It definitely helps in my case at least. So the graphic card has a measurement of 318 millimeter in length, 120 millimeters in width, and 58 millimeter in thickness. It is generally a 2.5 to 2.7 slot cards, so don't expect to fit in very small cases. On the back, there is the typical connection of 3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI. There is no USB-C in this model, so that's a bit disappointing. Now, despite being the lowest end model for the RTX 3080 lineup for Zotac, they managed to include RGB for this GPU. There is RGB at the sides and also RGB at the backplate. And this is very good considering both the TUF and the MSI 3X Ventus doesn't have any RGB. There are also some buyers complaining that the RGB keeps dying on this Zotac card when installing Firestorm software, but that was not the case with my unit. Overall, I think the RGB is very bright and the color customization is very good. Now, the reason why I got this GPU is because it was the only one that was in stock and was at recommended retail price direct from manufacturer. But I would also like to see, because this GPU seems to get a lot of bad flag. People say that it doesn't perform very good, it doesn't overclocks very well, runs very loud, runs very hot. So I'm gonna see today if there's any truth in those allegations. But before that, we are going to see some performance benchmark for this GPU. So the first game we are benchmarking today is Fortnite. So the RTX 3080 gives us 136 FPS compared to the 3070, which only gives us 105 average FPS. This can be boosted further, giving us 162 FPS with DLSS on. This is with epic quality. On to our second game, which is Call of Duty Warzone. The RTX 3080 manages to give us a stable average of 122 FPS compared to 89 FPS for the 3070. The next game is Call of Duty Cold War. So we are getting 104 average FPS compared to the 75 average FPS for the 3070. But this can be boosted further to a 162 FPS with the high quality preset and DLSS performance with RTX off. So we can see here that DLSS really gives a good performance boost, especially if you're playing fast-paced first-person shooter and keen to get higher frame rates. The next game we are testing is Assassin's Creed Origins. The RTX 3080 gives us 91 FPS compared to 63 FPS for the 3070. Next game is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The 3080 gives us 111 FPS compared to the 3070, 72 FPS. This is with the high quality preset without RTX and DLSS. with RTX plus DLSS, we managed to get 112 FPS. So there's really not much of a performance drop if you switch on RTX with DLSS actually. Now, on to our next game, which is Metro Exodus. We managed to get 66 FPS compared to the 49 FPS for the 3070. This is with the high quality preset without RTX or DLSS. We managed a similar FPS of around 70 FPS with RTX plus DLSS. Now, on to 2020 most anticipated game, Cyberpunk 2077. So this game with the ultra quality preset without RTX and DLSS, we are getting 80 FPS with the 3080 compared to 56 FPS with the 3070. Now, going with RTX plus DLSS, there's not much hit on frame rates as we are getting 78 FPS, which is similar to the 80 FPS without RTX and DLSS. But you know, if you're the type who don't really care about RTX, you can always switch it off and just switch on DLSS, which will give you a performance boost of up to 96 average FPS. I do feel that compared to previously, it's worth it to get an RTX GPU right now compared to previously. Previously, when I gotten my 2080 Super, I wasn't so impressed because the RTX and the DLSS features was not very impressive. But this time around, I do feel that it is very useful because it gives you a customization on whether you need the ray tracing or not, and whether or not you need the high frame rate. I hope that going forward that more games will support, especially DLSS. I'm more interested in DLSS actually for the higher frame rates compared to RTX. Now the performance benchmark is over. Sound test. This is the fan speed at 50%. At 75%. Now the GPU has magically become a vacuum, and this is the fan speed at 100%. Now just a recap of the loudness of the fan. Honestly, with this GPU, the max I would go is 75%. Now, on to another thing that was heavily criticized about this GPU, which is the thermals. Now, I won't say the thermal is as bad as people say. It is one of the worst performing RTX 3080 as far as thermals is concerned, but I don't think it's too bad. I'm getting 76, but this is with an open case. But I can see if you have a very poorly ventilated case, the temperature can reach 80. Especially considering even in an open case, I'm getting only 76. Which is not that great. So, macam biasa, conclusion time. So, what do I think about the Zotac RTX 3080 Trinity? So, I guess we go with the performance first. And this is where the Zotac shines. Not because the Zotac is a good card, but Ampere in general doesn't really overclock very well. So, even if you get the highest, most expensive end RTX 3080, the performance won't be much difference with this Zotac. Maybe plus minus 5%, but that's about it. I think the main Achilles heel of this Zotac is actually both the thermals and in terms of the loudness of the GPU. Because let's get real, I mean, you guys heard at 100%, the GPU is very loud. In fact, I would say at 75%, for people very sensitive to noise, they won't find 75% fan speed also is quite loud and quite unacceptable. But at 50% and below, it's definitely quiet. You won't hear it over the case fan or your normal, ambient sound. So I do feel that in terms of if that is the actually two main weakness of the GPU, the thermals and the loudness of the card. And the reality is, if I was offered the Asus stuff or the MSI Ventus 3X at the same price with the Zotac, would I purchase the Zotac? I would say no. I would probably go to with the Asus as my first choice, and the MSI Ventus as my second choice, because I heard a lot of good. I think all of us has heard very good things about the Asus stuff RTX 3080, both the OC and non-OC model. So, but however, the reality is you will never find the Asus or the MSI at MSRP. The Asus, I think, will go around 4,100 ringgit Malaysia, while the RTX 3X Ventus will set you back, I think, around 4,000 or 3,900. while the Zotac I managed to get it at 3,400. So that is around 500 ringgit Malaysia difference in price, or around $125. The difference is between 500 ringgit Malaysia or $125. So if you ask me, I might as well just keep the extra change and just get the Zotac Trinity, because you must remember the Zotac also comes with its own added benefit. Number one, it comes, at least in Malaysia, it comes with the longest warranty for any graphic card, which is 5 years. Asus comes second with the 4 years warranty, if I'm not mistaken. Asus has the 3 plus 1 year. So the Zotac actually has the longest warranty. So that's one advantage for the Zotac. And the other advantage for the Zotac is, of course, it's actually quite easy if you want to open the GPU, change thermal paste, and do things with the GPU, because Zotac is not very strict in terms of, you know, you modifying your GPU, opening it up or things like that. Because if you see the Zotac GPU, there's not really a sticker like Asus, you know, at the back when you open, warranty void if sticker removed, you know, those kind of sticker. There's none on, at least on both my previous Zotac cards, my 2080 Super, and even this one. There's no really that, you know, that warranty void if sticker is removed sticker. So that is also another advantage of the Zotac. And plus, it is, at least in Malaysia right now, it is the cheapest model, and you're not really getting such a bad performance. And something I will show in my next video is actually how to improve the thermals and subsequently the noise of the GPU by undervolting. The card actually responds very well to undervolt, and you can get an average of less than 70 degrees Celsius at around 50% fan speed for this GPU, which is actually very good performance. So I will do that in my next video. So do consider subscribe if you like to see that kind of content. So anyway guys, if you like this kind of content, do the usual YouTube stuff, you know, like and subscribe, and leave any question in the comment section down below. So see you guys next time. Thanks.